Welcome to the Tech and Accent podcast.
Here you learn about being an expat, working abroad, technology, and more from non-native English speakers. Let's get into it.
Welcome to another podcast episode of Tech and Accent. Today I have a guest from Brazil that lives in Portugal, and I met Guilherme when I was in Porto Alegre, my hometown, and we both were in the same conference. We were speaking at the developers conference in Brazil. So I will not introduce more because I would like to introduce you to Guilherme and give him the space to introduce himself. So thank you, Guilherme, for being here. Could you introduce yourself?
For sure. Thank you so much for the opportunity, Alekson. My name is Guilherme Rogatto. I was born and raised in Campinas, São Paulo. I have been living in Almada, near to Lisbon, for since 2022. It has been a great opportunity for my career, I would say. I am using my English a lot on my daily basis at work, and also when I go to some restaurants and some trips as well. So I am 29 years old. I have been working as a quality assurance engineer for the past 8 years, I would say. Before I was a developer as well, I worked with PLSQL and Oracle Forms and Reports, an old technology, I would say. But of course, it gave to me a lot of knowledge. So I use this knowledge in my daily basis as well. I think it was very important to be a developer because we know that being a quality assurance engineer nowadays, it requires to automation, testing, of course, infrastructure, architecture as well, a little bit, I would say. So I will say a little bit about what I enjoy doing after work. So I enjoy playing soccer, football a lot. As much as I can, I try to play soccer. Football, I'm not so good, but I like it. Yes, and also nowadays I'm studying French a lot. So I think same as you. Of course, I am beginner, but I am trying to improve my French on my daily basis.
I gave up a bit of my French because I studied too much, and now I have family dinners with my wife that she's from Quebec. So we speak French at home sometimes, not all the time, but when her family is with us. So I know exactly what you are doing, and fortunately I already finished my studies. But of course, I still have space for learning more because my French is not good. It's far from being like the English that is not perfect, but I'm confident to speak in English, but not much in French.
Yeah, me neither. Me neither for sure. I'm a beginner, just 3 months studying it. So it requires for sure, I don't know, at least 1 year to be prepared, I would say, to work or, I don't know, to talk to someone.
How many hours are you studying per day or per week French?
Per week, 1 hour and a half, but in groups. So I don't know, at least there are 8 people. So short time to, I don't know, to communicate.
So is it something from your company that is helping you to learn, and how is it and why? Why French?
Yeah, good question. The company that I work with, it is a French company. I work for Walmyr, but from Portugal. But this company, it was created in France. So I won't say that it requires to know French, but there are many opportunities that they mention that it is good to know. If you don't have, that's okay. But if you know French, it's gonna help you a lot. They help providing the group classes. So this is one very good team from Albay. They help you to study not just French, English as well. For example, they provide to my wife English classes as well. So this is one thing that, Albay helps us to improve. So yeah,
That's great. And when I came to Quebec, Canada, they also paid for me to study, but I never used in my first company. It was only English. I have a question for you that before the question, I would like to give a message to everyone that is, some people ask me, how can I create networking and how can I find jobs? They ask me these two questions, and the answer for both, it's kind of, in my opinion, is conferences. So go to conferences, speak, learn, listen, and be there just to meet people that has the same interest than you. And this is how I met you. And on my side, I got my job in Canada going to a conference. So I was not expecting a job in a conference. But now I'm curious about yourself. Did you get your job in a conference? How did you get the job? How was your journey from Brazil, from that day of the conference until where you are today?
Yeah, this is a good question because that first very event that we participated together, there were some space that some companies from Canada, if I'm not mistaken, they were trying to hire people. So I can remember that I didn't know English at all, so I couldn't communicate. So they, of course, as I didn't know English at that moment, I just listened to the people that were there and so on. And this situation made me feel like I need to improve it. I need to study it because that moment that I figured out that I need to know English to go further, I would say. So that moment I started studying English, I think 3 hours per week at the first moment. After that, I worked at Sensida. It is a famous company in Brazil. So they helped me a lot to improve my English. So I added more 4 hours per week. So I was studying 7 hours English per week. And of course, it helped me a lot. But this very first experience that I told you at that event helped me a lot. One thing that helped me as well, I worked at McKinsey & Company, and I can remember the first 2 weeks, it was an onboarding process, and it was very difficult for me because I didn't have a good English level, I would say, to work with that. And the onboarding process at McKinsey & Company is very, very tough, you know. More than 6 people dividing by groups. And my first feedback was the first day. My very first feedback was to communicate because I wasn't communicating. So this made me feel, I don't know if I am the right place because I don't know English. They know English a lot, I would say, a lot. And I have never been abroad, just in Brazil. So my first country that I visit was Portugal. So you can imagine. So this opportunity made me improve my English, I would say, as well. Of course, after that, I got a project abroad, 2 projects abroad. So yeah, working in English in my daily basis. So yeah, it helped me a lot.
So I would like to go similar to where I asked you before, but with some details in one area. And this question is more for Maxwell. Yeah, he's someone that sent me a message on LinkedIn, and he was asking me to do an episode of how is the English interviews. Could you do podcast about that. So, because this question from Maxwell, I will start asking everyone, how was your interview process in another language? And if you could give us, how was your experience?
Yeah, so I had some interviews in English already. I would say more than 10 interviews in English. Far from that, I would say. But from the company that because for example, when I joined Albay, after the interviews, some test exams, it requires more meetings with clients, more interviews, more exams. So that moment was very, very good to improve my English before joining the company. So I can say that the first interview with the HR department was in Portuguese. To be honest, they after at the end of the meeting they try to speak in English to know if you know well English. And yeah, this is the first phase. I would say that if you probably join any company in Portugal, probably there is a high chance to be the same way. After that, with the client, I think it requires more English than before. So next phase will require you to speak in English, even in your interview and the exam as well. You need to write some English things and so on. The exam is in English as well, but I would say that don't try to feel, oh, I'm not prepared about that. I know it is very, very complicated, but try to motivate yourself because I think we are not prepared to a lot of opportunities. So you need to go forward and accept the opportunity. This will make you I don't know, to improve your English in this case, but not just English, but all other professional stuffs.
And did you have any problem doing the interview in another language, like missing words or not able to express? How was it?
For sure, a lot. I had an opportunity to. I had an interview with British accent. Of course, I have been working with some British people, so I could speak a little bit better, not speak but understand as well. But to be honest, was very complicated because they speak very fast and their accent is different from what I have been studying so far. And yeah, there were many cases that I didn't understand what you said, please can you try it again? And but of course these they are very helpful. So if they don't understand, I think they judge less than for example some people in Brazil, I would say, about the English. So they just please try it again, please. And
yeah, they're sometimes helpful, right? They try to help you.
A lot.
Different from some Brazilians that try to laugh about you.
Yeah. At a company, the first experience that I worked in English was very complicated because I can remember some case like, hi Guilherme, I have seen that you are trying to say call instead of call. So this kind of example that it happened to me. And of course, I am a person that I try to, I don't know, I face this challenge and I try to study more, and this make me study more harder. I think it is not so good way to improve your English, but it's one thing that helped me a lot. So yeah, I faced many people, you are saying these words not properly. So it's one thing that happened to me. But as I said, I've never been abroad and so on. Studying English just a few years, so it is one thing that requires time to speak well, and yeah.
Exactly, and I'm really impressed when you said that you learned and you didn't know in 2018 December, that was our conference.
Mm-hmm.
So if you started in 2019 and we are just in January 2024, it's 5 years. But I guess you arrived in Portugal 2023.
22.
So in 3 years you went from zero to working abroad, and
Yeah.
with zero English. Like, it's so impressive. So congrats, and
Thank you so much.
I hope this shows to people that it's possible. Like 3 years of dedication, you learn a new language, and you are able to communicate, do an interview, and move to work in another place.
Yeah, I think one advice that I would give, for example, that it helped me a lot. For example, in my English classes, I try to bring new words to use. So I take some notes. I don't know. In this week, I will use 3 new words and 2 new sentences, for example, and I might use it. I must use it this week. So this is one thing that it helped me a lot, because you bring some new things to the English classes. Another thing that it helped me a lot as well was, for example, we used internet a lot. For example, we use YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and I try to follow as much as I can some, for example, English content there. So all the time that I open Instagram or YouTube, for sure there will be something related to English. So yeah, I try to do that, and to be honest, it helped me a lot, and it is helping me nowadays as well.
Yeah, and now we have a podcast in English that is here to help people to practice and consume English content. And I'm really happy to have your story being shared here. So talking about good things, could you tell us a bit of what is the thing that you most like in Portugal?
Yeah, I think I would say that there are many things to do there, no place to know. So yeah, even after 1 year and 2-3 months, I can say that there are still places to visit, some sightseeing and so on. So I live close to Lisbon. So in Lisbon, there are many things to do, some pubs, so some nice things to do. So yeah, I think I would say that. Also, I would say that I didn't expect to speak in English a lot, and there I could, because one of my goals, my first goals, was to work in an English country, but we know that is not so. There are many opportunities for sure, but I didn't wait for to the opportunity to come. So I accepted, and one thing that it was good, it was to speak in English. For example, even when you get a Uber or you go to restaurants, it will be necessary, I would say, to speak in English sometimes. So this is very good. In pubs as well, so there are many English pubs there. So yeah, very funny to speak in English, and you can study a little bit and drink a beer, so that's very good.
And also you're in Europe, so you can go to England and Dublin and other places to speak in English.
Yeah, for sure. I would like to try exchange program in English, also in French in the future, but because I saw some in French, less expensive in France. So, but yeah, I will try first in English. This is one thing that my wife and I have in mind to do. this year probably, or the next one.
And have you traveled a lot when you were here? You were in Portugal?
Good question. I just traveled to Spain, Madrid, because it takes too much time to get the residence in Portugal. It took me 8 months to get the residence. My interview was, I think, 5 or 6 months after I arrived in Portugal. So just after that, of course, the first 3 months you can travel as well, but I didn't try it because if you go with the work visa, you just can leave the country 2 times. So if I had any issue in that case, it would be complicated. For example, if I need to go to Brazil for something. So I just traveled after 8 or 9 months, and it was to Madrid. And I visit Bernabeu. I watched Real Madrid game as well. So it was very, very funny day.
That's cool.
To me.
It's really a soccer fan.
Yeah, I am a lot. I support Ponte Preta, so who knows? Ponte Preta knows that it is not so good team to support. Yes, I enjoy watching.
For those that doesn't know, Ponte Preta, it's like a hardcore fan that is talking to you here, Guilherme, because they are not winning for a long time and supporting. I think you were in a bad place, right? Went to the 4th division and now you are alive again.
Third division, yeah, 3rd division, almost 4th, but thanks God that didn't happen.
Yeah, and it's really nice to see someone is still supporting Ponte Preta after all the scandals that they did against your club.
Yeah, there were some challenges. I almost, just kidding. Yeah, always there are challenges. Ponte Preta lost some championship in the last decade, so yeah. But I think as soon as possible we're gonna win something good. I hope.
And how about the things that you don't like in Portugal?
Yep. Question 2. I think, for example, there is a different culture. So if you need to be prepared to face this, because you know that every place that you go in Brazil, probably you're gonna feel that you are at home. But in Portugal, of course, it is very close to Brazil, I would say. But they have a different culture. They just say, okay, that's it. So you need to understand it. After you understand it, it's a good thing. But it's one thing that I would say that it is different, colder as well, because I use it to live in Campinas, and Campinas, it is a very warm place, and in Portugal not so much. I know that it is the best country to live in Europe related to the weather stuff, but yeah, I'd say even that it is hard to me, at least.
Yeah,
for you, I can imagine.
So the cold, you're lucky that you didn't come to Canada.
Yeah.
Imagine if you were here today, it's -10.
Yeah, no way. I mean, I would like to, but very, very difficult, to be honest. But it is one thing that I would like to know as well. Is practice some sports. Snow sports as well. I've never seen snow in my life, so it is a goal for this year.
Yeah, you're close to the mountains and in Europe, so it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, it will. I will fall a lot, I would say, but yeah.
Yeah, that's part of the game.
Yeah.
So we have a question that is a classic one. That is, what was your most embarrassing moment where you live now?
Yeah, it was when I was watching Brazil against Senegal, if I'm not mistaken. After the game finished, I think the game didn't finish, to be honest. But I was leaving, but I fall in the stairs. So yeah, it was tough. It was tough, and yeah, I some people saw I falling, so it was very embarrassing to me. I hope any can recorded that, because it's gonna be in YouTube in just, I don't know, 1 minute. But yeah, I think this was my first. I think the second was also, I've never, for example, tried metro, so subways, for example. So it was different, at least for me, the way that, of course, it is easy, but at the first time that you do that, it is not so easy. So one day I got lost. I don't know, almost 2 hours just to get in a place that I knew, but yeah, it took me 2 hours in a place that if I go just by walking, it would take me, I don't know, just 20 minutes, and it took me almost 2 hours because yeah, I got lost. So this was embarrassing as well. Yeah.
And now that you are not lost anymore, I have a following question that is, what are the plans for this year that you have?
I think one of the plans and the goals that I have, I would say, there are some countries to visit. You can imagine France, my first one. By the way, I will get married there. I hope my wife's does not watch the podcast. So yeah, in front of the Tower Eiffel Tower, sorry, and yeah, so there are more few places to visit. I would say England as well, Italy, and some place. Also, I think to improve my French, I would be very happy if I improve my French. To be honest, one thing that I might do this year as well is to get back to, I don't know, to practice some other sport or play more football, because I just know one place and one group that I play soccer on Sundays. So yeah, I might know more place to play soccer, because it is, as I told, one thing that I enjoy doing. Uh, yeah, there are a few more. Probably, I don't know, change the apartment that I live for some case and this kind of stuff. But it is my goal. So because in Portugal it is very very complicated to rent an apartment. So yeah, because that I added it to my goal.
When is it the travel to France?
To France, it's gonna be probably after Italy. First, it will be in Italy in April, if I'm not mistaken, and after April, probably May, we're gonna travel to France, Paris.
So maybe in some months you can tell us how was the marriage in the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah,
And
let's do the second podcast to tell about my experience speaking French there.
yeah, so
I want to use, I think.
when we have a podcast about Testando na Gringa, that is the Portuguese one, that you are gonna share the experience in Portuguese, we're gonna follow up this question.
That's
And
nice.
and I have a final message now, that is your moment to give us a final message that you have for the public that is listening to us. So what would you give then? A message, the final one.
I would suggest that I think there are some opportunities that will be hard, tough to achieve it. Try to, you are gonna feel uncomfortable for sure. That's one thing that But for sure, I think these opportunities that make you feel uncomfortable, they are the best opportunities in your career. So for example, in English, I think there might have a lot of people here listening to this podcast that they would like for sure to join, I don't know, a company that you're gonna work with English. So this is an English example. So try to, I think it's complicated to say that you're gonna be 100% prepared for this opportunity, but try to do it. And I think it's gonna be very, very nice to you, I would say.
That's awesome, and I'm really happy with the conversation we had today. Thanks a lot, Guilherme, for sharing all your experience and sharing your time too.
Thank you so much, Alekson, once again, and I hope everyone that are listening to this podcast have success and fun as well.
Yeah, and me too, and I hope everyone has listened to this and see an inspiration like you did, like learning English in 3 years. It's awesome. Congrats again, and have a great year.
You too. Have a good one.
This podcast was edited by Ralf Carneiro.